Keith David's voice is so recognizable that you know it from television, from film. It speaks to you with such gravitas that it makes you also sit up straight, which is what I'm doing, interviewing him here at the 23rd Annual Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. Mr. David, what brings you to the island?
Well, the film festival.
Okay.
You know, I came specifically for the panel that you just witnessed, and I'm going to an event given by the Obamas later on in the week.
As an actor, as a creative, as a Black creative, what do you feel our responsibility is with a festival like this? What should we be saying? What kind of art should be going out? Because you've seen it, you've participated in all different forms. What's the responsibility?
Well, I think the responsibility is in supporting our stories. We want our stories to be told. We have these festivals because we want our stories to be told from our perspective. Until the lion learns to write, his story will only be told by the hunter. But we've been writing for a long time. We've been lions for a long time. But someone else has been telling our stories. So now we have not only to tell our stories, but we have to support the people who tell our stories. We have to not be afraid of truths. And we have to, it's, as we discussed on the panel, from inception to fruition is a very long journey. And it's not for the faint of heart. So we have to, find those sources and surround ourselves with people who are supportive, both energetically, spiritually, but also fiscally. We have to find, the people who can support us. And we have to be willing to be fiscally supportive of the people whose stories we believe in.
Now, you gave that lion quote, and I love it. I'll throw this one back at you. If you want to go somewhere quickly, go alone. If you want to go somewhere far, you go together. How do we, as Black creatives, go this great distance that you've described together?
By understanding we all have our own individual journeys, and it's not that kind of competition.
Okay.
Being supportive of somebody else does not make you less than.
Collaboration
is a strength, is a strengthening point, it's not a weakness. And it's got to begin somewhere.
Yeah.
If you want support, you got to give it.
I agree.
If you want collaboration, you got to be willing to give it.
So, what does this, in your mind, the fiscally part? How do we do that? Is it other Black creatives such as yourselves who've been in the game, so to speak, longer? Is it these new technology that's available to young people? Because without the finance, we seem to stay stagnant.
Well, that's a question that is ever, we're asking it all the time. Where do those sources come from? But, we all know of corporate entities and some individuals who may be able to, be of that kind of support. We have to be not afraid to approach them. But also, it's called show business. It ain't called show. So if you approach someone, either a corporation or an individual, with a business proposal, let it be about the business, or just ask them for a donation. Right. But if it's in fact to support your business, then you have to have a clear business plan. And what's the recoupment plan? What's the schedule of recoupment? You have to have all those things lined up. Nobody, unless you're asking someone for a direct, tax-deductible donation, in which they're just given their resources, and that's it. The rest you have to be really responsible for, business-wise.
We need to be more buttoned down. We need to be more...
we need to be clearer.
Be clearer.
We need to be clearer, and we need to be more responsible.
How have you managed to keep that responsibility in the roles that you've chosen in an industry that looks to either break you down or pigeonhole you a certain way? How have you managed to stay Keith David?
Partially, I want to say, one only pigeonholes oneself. I mean, they're in the realm of typecasting acting, or actors. We all know, you know 10 Geminis
Okay.
in your life. And 10 Geminis share a kind of tendency or trait.
The commonality.
But they're not the same person. So as an actor, if you keep asking me to do the same thing over and over again, playing the same type of guy, I've got to find what's different about this guy than this guy, than this guy. They're going to share a commonality. First of all, they're being channeled through me. So there's going to be that element. But I'm looking for what are the subtle differences that I can explore and exploit.
What do you love about the business now, where you can choose roles or you don't have to do certain things? What still brings you joy in this business that, as you have said, we need to be more buttoned down, we need to control it a little bit more, but what do you love about it still?
The work. For me, it's about the work.
Always the work, the words on the page.
The words on the page, the collaboration, the shared vision. That interests me. That's what brings me back to the table.
So it doesn't matter if it's blockbuster or indie. It has to speak to you. You like that team, almost like that teamwork effort.
I'm a team player, yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, of course, I'm fortunate. I do get to pick and choose. I don't take anything. But sometimes you take a money job. Sometimes this job is really about the money. I have been very fortunate that even when I take a money job, it's not something I just didn't want to do. It's not somebody I didn't want to play.
Okay.
I don't do that to myself. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you I never took a money job. Of course I have.
Right.
But it wasn't solely about money.
What would you say to the young creator, the young creative that is still trying to find their way in this business? Is it you need to be shooting, you need to be reading, you need to understand your craft? Is there a secret sauce?
You need to be understanding your craft.
That's the secret sauce.
Filmmaking is a craft. It's not something because you took pictures at your mama's birthday party, and she said, "Oh, baby, you just captured everybody so nicely." That doesn't make a filmmaker. Now, that can be the beginning of someone being a filmmaker. Some of that innate creativity can shine through under those circumstances, but that in itself doesn't make you a filmmaker. There's a craft to it, and you have to understand what the craft is, and then the craft has to understand the commerce of it, the business of it, and that's what makes for the creative process. Even when you look at stories like the making of The Godfather, and he understood very well going over budget and not being able to afford this, but he had a vision and convinced those that were trying to pinch the pennies that the juice was worth the squeeze. But that was because he had crafted something that kept them hungry.
Stay hungry. Stay learning. Stay on your craft.
You already know.
I could listen to this man for hours, and we have over the years in so many different ways, whether it is music, whether it is television, whether it is film. I am in awe of you, Mr. David. Keith David, thank you so very much for joining us here.
Speaking of branching out, I just dropped my first single. I have an album coming out in the next couple of months, so stay tuned.
The music, I mean, the voice is like music. Talk to us about this new endeavor.
Well, I've been a singer my whole life. I was a singer before I was an actor, and I've always wanted to make an album, and this year I made my first album. 3 weeks ago I dropped a single. In another 2 weeks, I think I'm going to drop another, and the album will be forthcoming later on in the year.
What can we expect? I mean, like I said, you could read the phone book and put a melody to it. What can we expect?
My rendition of Old Devil Moon.
Ooh, that old devil moon. Okay,
that old devil moon.
Okay, I know that might be outside of my generation, but I know that song.
Okay,
I know that song.
Go check it out. Spotify.
Listen. I support art. I will buy it. I will buy it. It's out there on. So, Old Devil Moon by Keith David. The single is out. You can buy it wherever you get digital downloads or DSPs. So go support. As he said, if you want change, if you want Black art, if you want to see yourself depicted in the correct ways, then you have to support the people that are doing it. And Keith David has been doing it, is doing it, and if we support him, we'll continue to do it.
Amen and jalapeno.
My brother.